Welcome to The Ben Show, your news outlet for everything in outdoors and Western lifestyle. I am your host, Rebecca Warner, aka Beck, and as always, we love hearing from all of you. Comments, stories, ideas. Get a hold of us anytime. Call or text 305-900-BEN. That is 305-900-2363. Or drop an email to benradioshow@gmail.com. Joining me as always is my producer, sound engineer, and co-host, Jeff Tigger Earhart. Now, the latest I have to bring up about is that if you are like us, we've been anxiously waiting to find out how our lottery results would be in the recent deer lottery, rifle lottery in our state, as well as I know a lot of you have been anxiously finding out and waiting if those licenses, those big game licenses came to fruition, shall we say. And Tigger, drum roll, how did you do?
I would roll my R's, but I can't do that. I can't do that. I cannot roll my R's, but I got drawn this year.
And you got drawn for in?
Any antler.
Which means we are mule deer hunting this fall.
So they're going to lock the two of us in a vehicle together where we have to be really, really quiet. That is a difficult one for me.
That is tricky for you. Okay, I'm glad you kind of brought that up. I also was excited because I was also drawn for an any antlered tag.
In the same zone, too, by the way.
In the same zone. In the state that we live in, we can either be drawn for an any antlered tag or a whitetail buck tag or, of course, any doe tag. And Tigger and I threw our name in the hat, hoping that the lottery would be in our favor and we would be drawn for any antler tag, meaning that we can harvest either a mule deer or whitetail buck this fall in November with our rifles.
And this is back-to-back years for you that you've been drawn.
And for the state that we live in, this is the first time as a resident that in the lottery I have received back-to-back any antlered tags. So I'm very excited to be chasing muleys 2 years in a row.
You know, there is hope yet for us to get drawn for bighorn sheep.
Oh,
I can't remember when they came out with that. I think that was later summer.
It's something like that. We live in a state where we have once-in-a-lifetime tags, and those once-in-a-lifetime tags would be for, as you said, a sheep or a elk or a moose in the state that we are. So regardless, we're excited to be chasing the muleys come this fall. And Tigger, I know you are so excited to be in the blind with me and everything. Whoa. That...
I got yelled at last time. Everybody else in the truck was making noise and your nephews were making noise. All I had to do was go to the bathroom. And I barely even breathed, and everyone's yelling at me that I'm making too much noise. But y'all were giggling and doing all this, but I barely even made a peep, and everyone was yelling at me that I'm making too much noise.
That's what he claims
I'm not
is
gonna
what
be in
happens.
Your foxhole. You go on that ridge, and I'll go over there, and we'll use certain kinds of sign language back and forth to one another, I think is what's going to happen.
It is quite funny. He's gotten used to me saying, shh, and then he'll come back with, can I at least breathe? Our spotlight today is on age. I keep saying it. Age is only a number. Today we spotlight one woman that's not spending her days bored sitting around the retirement home. No, 84-year-old Kim Knorr of Grand Haven, Michigan, she spends her days skydiving instead. Yes, you heard it right, skydiving. Kim Knorr knew she wanted to skydive after her uncle brought home a military parachute from World War II. After forging her parents' signatures, Knorr made her first jump back in 1959. She then sold all her possessions, bought a Euro-Rail pass, and an open-end plane ticket so she could travel as a parachute enthusiast visiting 21 countries. Kim Knorr was one of only 2 women to compete against men in the 1961 team tryouts at Fort Bragg in North Carolina, and in 1962 made history as a member of the first U.S. women's parachute team, and they won gold. She has since then been inducted into the International Skydiving Hall of Fame, and her longtime goal is to complete 1,000 skydives. She's currently has 400 left to go. And last weekend alone, she completed 3 skydives. Can you imagine 600 skydives completed? Now, That is pushing the limits and still doing so at 84 years of age. You're an inspiration, Mrs. Kim Emmons-Knorr. Football fans and hunting enthusiasts stood behind Carson Wentz, the NFL quarterback, when he made recent national headlines after returning from a bucket list Alaskan bear hunt. The hunt was for an archery black bear and was done so according to legal laws. What made this national news was when Wentz shared the success of his hunt on social media, the non-hunters grabbed at the opportunity to hate on an outdoorsman. The post Wentz shared on social media was captioned, "Got the opportunity to spot and stalk black bear in one of our new favorite places on earth, Alaska. Incredible trip and an incredible animal." Carson Wentz has never been afraid to share his love for the outdoors, and of course, social media, along with national news outlets, had a heyday trying to drag hunting, the outdoors, and this NFL player's name through the mud. In my opinion, this was a well-played move by Carson Wentz to relate to other like-minded people, as Wentz himself is like many of us proud Americans that love the outdoors. We pray, we hunt, and watch football. Congratulations, Carson Wentz, on your successful Alaskan black bear hunting adventure. This next story I'm touching on only because it makes my blood boil, okay? Not too often you will hear me become opinionated. But this one I feel was very overlooked by major news outlets. Our attention was placed elsewhere, is what I'm saying. And owning that thought, here we go. Last week, the U.S. Department of Agriculture gave the green light for 2 companies to sell chicken meat that is lab grown. Yes, I said lab grown. The companies Upside Food and Good Meat, in an effort to be the first companies to sell meat that doesn't come from slaughtered animals, has created chicken using animal cells grown in a lab, known as Cultivated Meat. It is grown in steel tanks and produced on large sheets that are then cut into shapes resembling chicken cutlets and sausages. Currently, this new meat source will not be sold in grocery stores, though, as it's more expensive to produce than traditional meat. If you're like me, I am not impressed with this approval on this whatsoever, and I'm going to leave it at that. Now here's a little bit of lighthearted news for y'all. If you're venturing north of the border, Canada that is, there's a new cotton candy flavor being tested out by the dipping sauce company French's. French's has launched ketchup-flavored cotton candy. All I can say is how unfair. I love ketchup. It's almost crazy how much I like ketchup. Well, y'all up north, there you go. You got the first taste on the new Doritos ketchup and mustard varieties too. So that's unfair if you ask me. Also, while in Canada, keep your eyes on the lookout. McDonald's has launched a new McFlurry flavor, the Caramel Popcorn McFlurry. And here at our local Mickey D's, we only get the option of, I think, Oreo or M&M. Come on, let us Americans be the guinea pigs first for a change. Lastly, I do have one if you're road tripping through or near Columbia, Missouri. Sparky's homemade ice cream has gone viral on social media for serving up Mountain Dew and Doritos ice cream that is green in color. Now, if any of you had any of these newest flavors, let us know what your palate thought. Are they a thumbs up or a thumbs down? That's a wrap for now. When we come back, we're going to be sharing a little tip from one of our pro angler field staffers. Stay where you are. The Ben Show will be right back.
It has been quite a run on the Bend Radio Show. Now, here's an interesting question for y'all. Several listeners reached out and wanted to have more Western history and Western lifestyle on the show from time to time. So what do you think? What are your thoughts? Give us your input, or are there topics that you want Beck to cover? What are your favorites? We want to hear from you. Our listeners are from all corners of the country, actually all corners of the globe for that matter. So weigh in and let us know. BendRadioShow@gmail.com or call and text us at 305-900-2363.
Ride 'em, cowboy.
The 144th Mandan Rodeo, presented by Dakota Community Bank and Trust, is back this summer at the brand new Dale Polkey Arena. Bring the whole family out to see some of the best riders in pro rodeo July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Ticket packages are on sale now at mandanrodeo.com, and they're going fast. Don't miss your chance to secure the best seats in the first Mandan Rodeo at the new arena. See y'all there.
The hunt is planned. The guide is booked. The trip is blocked off in the calendar. But one huge detail remains, preserving that trophy, creating a memory that will last a lifetime. Little Rack Taxidermy has that fast, friendly service to fulfill your taxidermy in a timely, professional manner. Reach out to Heather with Little Rack Taxidermy through Facebook at Little Rack Taxidermy or send an email to heatherjoe23@hotmail.com. Little Rack Taxidermy, bringing back the natural look.
Shooting ducks, skinning bucks, I'm a hunting princess in a pickup truck.
Welcome back to the Ben Show, your news outlet for everything outdoors and Western lifestyle. Well, with 4th of July week, holiday week upon us now, I know what's on the back of all our minds. It is camping, and it is, of course, fishing. And with that in mind, we are reaching out to one of our new Bend field staffers, pro angler Johnny Candle. You got introduced to him a few weeks back on the show. He has so many tips and so much insight for fishing across the entire United States. I thought it was only best to reach back out to Johnny, and as he always says, put some fish on the rail. Johnny, what do you got for us this week?
Things are changing rapidly. Summer came in a hurry. It got warm. That means weed growth. And man, it's growing fast here. And when the weeds come, it gets challenging because fish want to be in there. The bait goes in there. The water's cooler in the weeds. And things just start moving and shaking in the weeds. And how do you fish them? Well, you can fish the edges. Jigs work well, pitching on the edges. But it gets frustrating if your jig sinks too far. So I like to throw crankbaits. And there's only one way to figure out which crankbait is right, and that's trial and error. Throw one over the top. If it drags a bunch of weeds back, it dives too deep. And if you don't make contact with the weeds, it's not diving deep enough. And a bait that's worked really well for me lately, pulling over the weeds or casting over the weeds, is the shallow flicker shad. I've got two different sizes here. I've got a number 5 right here, and I've got a number 7 right here. Both shallow divers. This is a fairly new bait. It's working really, really well for me. What I like about it, number 1, is it keeps that same flicker action. The deep diving flicker shads have won a lot of money in tournaments. They've put a lot of fish over the rail for people all over the country. And this keeps the same nice, tight action that the regular flicker shad has. Second thing I like about it is that it casts really well. There's a lot of other shallow diving bait options out there, but they're really, really light. These are heavy. They fly through the air. They sail really nice. You can get a good long cast. I'm throwing mine on 10-pound braided line. I like the Berkeley Fireline Ultra 8 for casting. I've got about a 6-foot fluorocarbon leader, but that doesn't have to be 6 feet long. If you don't know how to tie a really good knot, you can use a swivel and only have about an 18-inch leader. It's going to work just as well. Put a snap on there so the crankbait wiggles nice, but chuck them out over the weeds, crank them down. Start with the 5. If it doesn't tick the weed tops, go to the 7. But these baits are absolutely phenomenal, and they are what's working for walleye this week and last week, since I forgot.
I got to gig you a little bit, Johnny Candle. We didn't forget you. See, we got you in
We
here.
got you. That's okay. You forgot to get it to us last week, but that's all right.
It's all good. It's all good. But you got to say, I love walleye fishing, and I know it's a very popular sport fish for a lot of those, especially in the northern part of the United States. They're lucky enough to have walleye. But throughout the country, there's a lot of bass fishing and the bluegills, the sunfish. All of that is really popular right now.
Do you think it's safe to say that people just like fishing? I mean, that's me. I don't necessarily go after a particular species. I just like to fish.
Well put. I think it is exactly just that. It is a great sport that anybody in the family can do at any time in their life. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, Tigger, yes, you are our fly fisherman of the household.
But that doesn't mean I'm going after trout. That just means I'm using the fly rod to deliver that particular piece of tackle.
Exactly. I have watched you hook everything from, of course, the large and smallmouth bass to the crappies.
To walleye,
well
to northern, catfish, you name it.
You've got it. It's just another method to get out there and fish as we're talking. So that's what I want to encourage you is while you're packing up to head out camping this week for this 4th of July holiday week, make sure you toss in some of those other rods. So for example, if you're a fly fisherman, grab the spinning rod because you never know who might be with you that might not be familiar with fly fishing, but they still want to fish too.
We do that a lot because you're just getting into fly fishing.
Yes.
You're just starting out, and that takes time. I get it. It takes time to learn that rhythm, but we are always throwing in the spinning reels. A lot of times we'll have a bait caster that we'll throw in, but don't forget your other tackle box too. I mean, don't forget half of your gear. But we're always throwing that in, bobbers and all kinds of different stuff.
And it's not necessarily just for us that we're packing along this extra equipment, rods, all that goes with it. It's because when we're out in the outdoors, you know how it is. You end up making friends or meeting new people often. And sometimes, as Tigger and I will come across, say, kids, and it's kind of fun to teach somebody a new hobby, right?
It's really fun. Yeah, it's really fun. You can do that with fly rods too. They can just, act like the old bamboo poles.
Exactly. We've had more fun, I would say, when we are out fishing, hiking, enjoying the outdoors, when we've been able to take somebody that has never done it or hasn't had an opportunity in a long time to do so, to say, hey, jump on board. Come on. Let's go have some fun. Let's toss a line.
But be patient with the wee ones, with the little ones, because you have a nephew that he loves fishing as much as I do, and he loves to go fishing with us. But if we're catching more fish than him, he is ticked. I mean, he is lit up. So be patient with those wee ones. Don't try to show them up. Let them have the opportunity to catch and to learn and get excited. And
I know over the years, you and I have talked about this, Tigger, and some of the most rewarding times is when we are sharing it with somebody else. And when you can watch the joy in someone else's eyes when they're reeling in the biggin for the day. To me, that's the topping on the cake. That's the ice cream on the top of the cake.
Exactly.
So now that you're excited, you're packing the truck, you're loading all those fishing poles. I'm going to be the mom here. Even though I'm not a mom, I'm going to be that person and remind you, make sure you're grabbing that deep woods off or insect repellent of your choice, because we've heard it across the country. The ticks are horrible regardless where you are at.
Mosquitoes are bad.
The skeeters are bad. Yes.
Why are they always attracted to me? I know some people say it's your blood type or something. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but
all I know is they always say there's that one guy in the party. You're that one guy.
I found
always.
one on me the other day. I'm sitting by the kitchen table, and everyone is just out of the blue. He's just about 9 o'clock in the morning.
So yes, grab that bug repellent, and not just for yourself. It may be a friend or family member or someone else that's going to need it, because there's always that guy in the group that gets all the ticks, the mosquitoes, and the horse flies. And on top of that, make sure you're grabbing your SPF. We're talking your sunscreen, because it's amazing. Tigger and I this year upped our SPF to where we've been using 50 all year. We still have tans. Don't worry, you will still get a burn. Hey, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
It has been quite a run on the Bend Radio Show. Now, here's an interesting question for y'all. Several listeners reached out and wanted to have more Western history and Western lifestyle on the show from time to time. So what do you think? What are your thoughts? Give us your input. Or are there topics that you want Beck to cover? What are your favorites? We want to hear from you. Our listeners are from all corners of the country, actually all corners of the globe for that matter. So weigh in and let us know. BendRadioShow@gmail.com or call and text us at 305-900-2363.
Hey guys and gals, this is John Arman with Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV travels the back roads to the backwaters in pursuit of the ultimate adventure in hunting and fishing. Join Team UOA every week for exciting action in the crosshairs of the outdoors. Catch Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV on YouTube, Amazon Prime, and make sure to follow Team UOA on Facebook and Instagram to share in the ultimate outdoor adventure.
Want to add just a little bit of spice to your event, your customer appreciation supper, your banquet, your meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Well, bring in us, Beck and I, as your keynote speakers, hosts, MCs, a host couple. We'll make them laugh, even cry tears of joy. Call us today.
The calendar has been marked, your aim is on point, and all that's missing is the clothes to take you to the next level. TheTellyOutdoors.com specializes in clothes that fits, wicks, and moves silently while providing comfort and durability. TheTellyOutdoors.com.
Welcome back to The Ben Show, your outdoors and Western lifestyle outlet for the latest. I am your host, Rebecca Warner, aka Beck. I have some entertainment news for you. Let's get rolling. First off with Miranda Lambert. If you weren't a fan already, I have a feeling many of you will give a nod of approval on these latest claims about the famous country star. Miranda Lambert is allegedly considered to be the most frugal country star in Nashville. Heck yeah, I like this already. A source claims that she eats at chain restaurants, takes freebies when she can, and even goes on all-inclusive vacations, including having recently stayed in Mexico at a chain all-inclusive resort. All I can say is, what's wrong with that? I love hearing when our famous folks are down-to-earth people, just like you and I. You know the saying, a penny saved is a penny earned in our books. Fans of the TV drama Yellowstone prequel 1923 starring Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, the resolutions to those plot lines and other cliffhangers that we've all been waiting for do not appear to be coming anytime soon due to the Writers Guild of America strike. Season 1 of 1923 ended in dramatic fashion, as only the Duttons would do, with the Dutton family ranch under attack and Spencer and Alex torn apart on their way to help save it. At this point, NBC Montana has commented that the project has been delayed indefinitely due to the Writers Guild of America strike. We'll be keeping this on our radar for sure, folks. Food trends. You know, this has gotten to be one of my most favorite topics in our show. Okay, here's the latest trend that I found out about. It's called stir-fried rocks and stones, and it has become a massive hot food trend over in China. Let's put it that way. However, it is, yes, making its way across the pond to the United States. So hear this one out. As I said, it's stir-fried rocks and stones. Well, people are finding rocks and pebbles, taking them home and cleaning them really well before placing them amongst their stir-fried dish. Well, I hate to bust this cooking trend. Rock cooking or hot stone cooking has been used for thousands of years. It's one of the survival basics taught if one is lost out in nature. Adding hot stones to a large bowl with a little oil and your meats and vegetables. Be sure to stir the stones and ingredients well, though, until the meat is fully cooked. And just a tip, if you fail to stir it enough, I promise you it will burn. I'm not going to go into details on how I learned that one. Anyway, it's called stir fry for a reason. So stir it. Heat up 10 or more stones in the embers. Wash them off really well. Then toss them into your concoction for a rockin' stir fry. See how I did that? Now thinking about this new trend, kind of glad it was brought up, as this could really be fun for one of those activities to get the kids involved with. Give it a try, please, and let us know how your crew enjoys the new challenge on your next camping trip. Lastly, marshmallows. With the 4th of July holiday week now upon us, don't forget the marshmallows. We talked about this last week, and I thought I'd remind you to use this holiday as a reason to try some of the new flavors gracing the shelves. From the Stuffed Puffs brand, there is now classic milk chocolate marshmallows, cookies and cream marshmallows, and salted caramel filled or stuffed marshmallows. That's not all. For those wanting that visual effect, especially for the kids at the campfire, there are marshmallows out there this camping season that change color while being toasted. All I can say is make sure you get you some. That is all, folks. We're going to call this show wrapped. Thank you to my producer, sound engineer, co-host, Jeff Tigger Earhart. And thank you, Johnny Candle, for this week's pro fishing tip. Crew, be sure to check out johnnykandle.com. That's Johnny spelled Johnnnie. JohnnyCandle.com for angler tips or to book a charter trip with this pro. Remember, folks, to keep sending in those questions as well as your area's field reports. That number again, where you can call or text, is 305-900-BEND. Again, that's 305-900-2363. Or you can always email bendradioshow@gmail.com, as well as tag us on social media at The Ben Show. We love hearing and seeing your life on or off the trail. If you missed part of this episode or you want to hear past shows, you can find them all on the website thebendshow.com, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting app, as well as to the Bend Show YouTube channel. Looking to change things up at your next event, conference, or awards banquet? Have us, Tigger and Beck, entertain your crowd. We are PRCA Pro Rodeo card holders, where Tigger is a pro rodeo announcer, and we are both PRCA music directors. From MCs to event headliners, public speakers, to acting as a host couple, or even offering play-by-play action, let us make your gathering extra special. From ranching, cattle hunting, fishing, camping, and rodeo, and so much more, including, did you know that Tigger is also an auctioneer? Try spicing up your upcoming rodeo or fishing tournament by having us, Tigger and Beck, auction off a team or contestant Calcutta to add to the excitement. Regardless the crowd, we have the stories to share with the laughs to be had. Thank you to our partners, Ditelli Outdoors, the 144th Mandan Rodeo Days, About You Photography, Buckstorm, Little Rack Taxidermy, Mickey's Mustard, ToxicCalls.com, Wobblo Creek Outfitters, Atlas Tracks, RFD TV, The Cowboy Channel, and Wrangler. Finally, a big thanks to all of you listeners out there that came along, and know that we wish you all a safe and happy 4th of July. And as you're coming and going today, stay with us as we ranch it up. And remember to keep up with me, Beck, all week long by following The Bend on Facebook and on Instagram at The Bend Show. This is Rebecca Warner. Catch Beck if you can next week on The Bend.